The air in the gym always tasted the same, a metallic blend of iron, rubber, and the sharp, sterile scent of disinfectant. For 3 years, this had been our sanctuary. Tuesday and Thursday nights. Just me and Sarah. It was routine. It was safe. Or at least, it used to be. For the last 6 months, safe was the last word I would use to describe the hour and a half I spent watching Sarah move. It had become a specific kind of torture, a sweet, agonizing ritual where I had to pretend that my heart wasn't hammering against my ribs every time she tied her hair back or wiped the sweat from her neck. Earth to Charlotte. Sarah's voice cut through the noise of the treadmill beside us. I blinked, snapping back to reality. Sarah was standing in front of me, hands on her hips, a playful smirk dancing on her lips. She was wearing that oversized gray t-shirt she knew I hated because it hid her form, yet somehow made her look even more effortlessly beautiful. Sorry, I mumbled, grabbing my water bottle to hide my face. Just zoned out. Long day. Well, wake up, she teased, reaching out and tapping my shoulder. Her fingers lingered for a fraction of a second too long, sending a jolt of electricity straight down my spine. It's leg day. I need you focused. You're spotting me on squats. I nodded, unable to trust my voice. Focus. Just focus on the weights. The gym was relatively empty tonight, likely because of the storm battering the windows outside. The heavy rain provided a rhythmic, thrumming backdrop to the clanking of plates. We moved to the squat rack in the back corner, an area that felt secluded, almost private. Sarah started loading the bar. I watched her movements, efficient, strong, confident. That was the thing about Sarah. She moved through the world with a certainty I envied. I, on the other hand, was terrified. Terrified that one slip-up, one lingering glance, would ruin the best friendship I'd ever had. You good? Sarah asked, stepping under the bar. She adjusted her grip, the muscles in her forearms shifting. Always, I lied. I moved behind her, hovering close. I've got you. The tension started there. Usually, spotting was mechanical. You watch the form, you help if they fail. But tonight, the air felt heavy, charged with something unspoken. As she descended into the squat, I found myself holding my breath. She did 5 reps easily. On the 6th, she slowed. Come on, I whispered, my voice dropping lower than intended. Drive up. You've got this. She pushed, a small grunt of effort escaping her throat. I stepped closer, my hands hovering just inches from her waist, ready to catch her, ready to touch her. The heat radiating off her body was intoxicating. It smelled like vanilla body wash and hard work. She racked the weight with a loud clang and exhaled sharply, leaning forward against the bar to catch her breath. She didn't turn around immediately. She just stood there, head down, breathing heavily. I didn't move away. I should have stepped back, given her space. That was the protocol. But my feet felt rooted to the rubber floor. I was standing so close that I could count the stray hairs falling from her ponytail. Charlotte, she said, her voice breathless. She didn't turn around. Yeah. You're really close. She didn't say it like a complaint. It was an observation, soft and low. Do you want me to move? I asked, the risk hanging in the air between us. My heart was beating so loud I was sure she could hear it over the storm outside. Sarah slowly turned around. We were inches apart. The gym mirrors reflected us, 2 figures locked in a silent standoff. Her chest was rising and falling rapidly, her skin flushed from the exertion. But it was her eyes that pinned me. Usually bright and laughing, they were now dark, searching, scanning my face with an intensity that made my knees weak. No, she whispered. Don't move. The silence that followed was deafening. The background noise of the gym, the distant clatter of dumbbells, the hum of the AC, seemed to fade into a dull roar. The world narrowed down to just the 2 of us in the squat rack. She reached out, her hand trembling slightly, and brushed a stray lock of hair behind my ear. Her fingertips grazed my jawline, cool against my heated skin. It was a gesture so tender, so unlike the high fives and fist bumps we usually exchanged, that it felt like a shout. We've been coming here for 3 years, she said, her voice barely audible. Yeah, I breathed. And for the last few months. She trailed off, her gaze dropping to my lips before snapping back to my eyes. I feel like I'm going crazy, Charlotte. Tell me I'm not crazy. My internal monologue, usually a chaotic mess of anxiety, suddenly went quiet. This was it. The cliff edge. I could step back, make a joke, preserve the safety of our friendship. Or I could jump. I looked at her. Really looked at her. I saw the fear in her eyes, mirroring my own. You're not crazy, I said, my voice shaking. Because if you are, then I've been out of my mind for a long time. Sarah let out a shaky breath, a half laugh, half sob of relief. The tension didn't break. It shifted. It transformed from a wall between us into a magnetic pull. Show me, she challenged softly. I didn't hesitate. I closed the tiny gap between us. My hands found her waist, the spot I had hovered over just moments ago, and I pulled her in. When our lips met, it wasn't tentative. It was desperate. It was the culmination of months of stolen glances, accidental touches, and late-night texts that meant more than they said. She tasted of salt and sweetness. Her hands tangled in my hair, pulling me closer as if she was afraid I would vanish. The kiss was messy, heated, and full of everything we hadn't been saying. It was the feeling of the heavy weights, the exhaustion, and the adrenaline all crashing together into pure emotion. We broke apart only when we needed air, foreheads resting against each other. My hands were still on her waist. Hers were gripping my shoulders. Wow, she breathed, her eyes still closed. Yeah, I laughed breathlessly. Wow. I can't believe we waited this long, she murmured, opening her eyes. The uncertainty was gone, replaced by a warmth that melted the rest of my anxiety. I was scared, I admitted. I didn't want to lose my gym buddy. Sarah smirked, that familiar playfulness returning, but softened by affection. Well, you're a terrible spotter, you know. You let me struggle on that last rep. I was distracted, I defended, running my thumb over her cheekbone. I know, she whispered, leaning into my touch. Me too. We eventually finished the workout, though neither of us could focus. Every set was punctuated by lingering looks and touches that were no longer hidden. The dynamic had shifted irrevocably. The gym wasn't just a place to train anymore, it was the place where the walls came down. As we walked out into the cool, rainy night later, the air felt different. Cleaner. We walked to her car, our gym bags slung over our shoulders. Usually, this was where we said a quick goodbye and went our separate ways. Sarah unlocked her car but didn't get in. She turned to me, rain misting on her face. So, she said, biting her lip. Same time Thursday? I smiled, reaching out to take her hand. It felt natural, fitting perfectly in mine. Thursday, I agreed. But maybe we skip the cardio and grab dinner after? She squeezed my hand, her smile radiant even in the dim streetlights. I'd love that. I watched her drive away, the tail lights blurring in the rain. I stood there for a moment, letting the water soak through my hoodie, feeling more alive than I had in years. The heavy weight I had been carrying, the secret, the fear, was gone, left back there on the gym floor. Everything had changed. And for the first time, I couldn't wait to see what happened next.